right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with a warm-up. So just follow along. Let me just turn this up. If you can't hear me or if you have any questions, feel free to unmute and just ask. So we're going to go ahead and get started laying down on the ground. And you want to just try to kind of relax here, palms up to the ceiling. Try and think about letting your chest spread down nicely. And we're going to just do some nice deep breathing here. So nice big inhales. And then exhale. And try and make it a little forceful so you really feel some abdominal engagement. So you're pushing your air out. Try and get as much air in and out as you can. Let's go 2 more of these breaths. Really oxygenating. Okay, nice. The first movement we're going to do is called wishbone kicks. So get 90 degrees hips and knees. You want to have weight on your pelvis. And you're going to move your feet apart. Take a breath in and exhale. You're going to push your heel up to the ceiling. Inhale down, exhale. If you start to feel any kind of cramping sensation in the top of your hip, just bring your feet back together. And then once the cramping goes away, open it back up. You're going to really think about trying to extend and get that nice hamstring stretch. Just exhale, inhale down. I'll go 1 more on each side. And then gently let your legs back down. What I'm going to do next is some active twisting. So walk your feet nice and wide. And then you're going to bring your knees down both to one direction. And then inhale. And exhale, drop your knees down to the other direction. Inhale back up. And exhale. So just back and forth. You want to try and keep the hip down close to the ground. So you really feel a stretch in the top of your hips. Again, just work on that nice breathing pattern. That helps time the movement and gets your body nice and prepared for what we're going to be doing. Go 1 more. Okay, bring your feet back into hip width distance. We're going to do some shoulder bridging here. So get your abs nice and engaged. You want to squeeze kind of hard, and then you're going to push your hips up to the ceiling, and then slowly come back down, lightly touch your hips on the ground, and push upwards. You want to think about taking your hips and kind of rotating them away slightly, so your tailbone moves towards your knees. That'll help really engage the glutes while you're pressing up. Getting any kind of cramping in the hamstrings or the low back, try and think about pushing your feet forwards so that you really feel it primarily in your glutes. Nice big exhale as you press upwards and inhale down. I'll go 2 more. Nice. And then gently relax that down. Next up, we're going to be doing some pelvic tilting here. Warm up the low back. Actually, we're going to do something different. Never mind. Different warm up for the low back. Go ahead and bring your knees to your chest and hug your knees. You don't want to crush it in. You're just kind of applying some tension. And then you're going to rock side to side. 2 of those. And then we'll go forwards and backwards. Again, 2 of those. So just kind of repeat that in cycles of 2. So side to side for 2, just calmly breathing, and then forward and backwards. So you should really feel the low back kind of engaging in all of these directions. You want to just kind of be nice and gentle with this. Just following that nice consistent breathing pattern. You don't want to be holding your breath. And now I want you to bring your chest up a little bit, and we're just going to kind of gently rock. So you lift the chest up, and then lift the hips up. So it should feel a little bit in your abs, and that should be about it. That's primarily where you want to feel that one. So just kind of rocking back and forth. And then go ahead, relax back down. Let your knees down. And I have to adjust a little bit so don't smack my wall. So this next one we're going to do for the upper body. So get your abs nice and engaged. You want to bring your feet as close to your hips as you can get them. But don't force it, obviously. You don't want it to be uncomfortable. So abs are engaged. Reach your arms up so they're straight over your shoulders. And then you're just going to let your arms go backwards. Get that nice stretch in your chest. And exhale, back up. Inhale down. And exhale, back up. So you want to feel a big stretch in your chest while you're doing this. And your abs should be nicely engaged. Try not to let yourself shrug your shoulders up. What you're doing here, you want to think about keeping them nice and low. And then exhaling to really get that abdominal tension. We'll go 2 more. Okay, nice. Now I'm going to roll to one side. We're going to come up. And then we're going to go into a tabletop position. So you're going to have your shoulders over your wrists, hips over your knees. And what we're going to do here is some nice gentle wrist circles. So spread your fingers out as firmly as you can, right? So you're really getting that distance. And then you're going to just gently circle over your wrists. This is a bit too much. You can back your hands to your knees to do the circling if you find that the weight's a little bit too extreme. But you want to just be nice and gentle and really feel the weight transferring over all your fingers. You want to do about 3 to 4 circles in one direction and then go for the other direction. Again, just calmly breathing. Try not to hold your breath while you're doing this. Nice. And then we're going to go onto the backs of the hands. So with your thumbs pointing out to the side, I'm going to advise you start nice and close in to your knees and then just push through your fingertips and then bring your hands back down. So you want to really feel this in your forearm, kind of squeezing down and using the musculature of your wrists to kind of engage into that movement. Probably feel this a little bit in the triceps and the shoulders too, and that is okay. Okay, nice. I'm gonna get back into that tabletop position. Get the abs nice and engaged, and then we're going to just kind of step the foot backwards, and then bring it back, and then step the other one. And you want to think about like you're trying to push your foot into a wall behind you, so you're trying to leave a footprint on it. Just nice exhale. As you push, And try not to let your back change positioning while you do this. Should be really feeling that in the glute and then abs. Go one more on each side. Nice. And then going to go ahead and stand up out of that. So next thing we're going to do is a spread foot glide. So you want to get your feet out to a distance that you feel a little bit of a stretch in the groin, but not intensely. And then from this position, think about pushing your hips backwards. So you're hinging at your pelvis, and then just let your arms relax. So you should feel a little bit of hamstring stretch while you're doing this. Shift your body weight over towards one foot. Take a breath in, and then exhale. Push your hips over to the other side. You want to think about keeping your body centered on your pelvis, so you're not leaning your torso, you're pushing your hips over. And again, maintaining that backwards force, so you're keeping your hips as far back as you kind of comfortably can while maintaining your balance. Feeling that groin stretch and that hamstring stretch on that extended leg. We'll go one more on each side. Oh wait, no, actually, that side, and then go ahead and come up and gently walk your feet back together. Now, this next one we're going to do is a little bit more dynamic, not anywhere near as wide. You want to be like probably about double your hip width. So what we're going to do is pivoting. So I want you to pivot on that back foot and reach towards that leg, and then come back and pivot and reach. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. So you want to feel that rotation through your pelvis on this hip. Pivoting is really good for your hip rotation. Now, if you want to make this a little bit more challenging, you can take this hand that you're not reaching with and think about pulling that elbow backwards. So you get a little bit of that cross rotation, a little bit more work in your upper body, but only if you don't find this too complicated. If it is complicated, if you're not used to pivoting, just focus on your hip movement. Go one more per each side. And then let that relax. Come back to a nice neutral standing position. Now we're going to do some big arm circles. So I'm going to just get the abs engaged, squeeze your hips, and then you're going to make Venn diagrams with your hands. Trying to get really big extension as you're crossing the arms in front of you, and really reach your hands out to the sides. Trying to get distance with your shoulders. Just calmly breathing while you're doing this. And try not to let your rib cage come up when you're reaching the hands upwards. You want to think about holding that tension in your abs. And then go ahead and pause at the bottom, and we're going to go for the other direction. A little bit like a butterfly swimming stroke, except you're crossing the arms. Just keeping that nice squeeze with your glutes and with your abs, keeping that distance away from your shoulders with your hands. Go about 3 more. Nice, and I gotta check the time real quick. What are we looking at? Okay, cool. Last one we're gonna do is gonna take your hands, put them together right in front of your chest, and reach upwards as high as you can without shrugging, right? You want to keep the shoulders nice and low. And then in this position, making sure you're still squeezing your hands together, you're going to try and make little circles with your torso. So knees are bent, hips are engaged, and you're trying to just make little circles, thinking about that movement coming through your chest. Again, calm breathing pattern. Trying to really move your hands. Feeling this in your abs, the shoulders. And then let's go the other direction. That's going to be the last thing. We're doing another warm-up. Heart rate should be nice and elevated. Might be sweating a little bit. And that's kind of the point of this. Go 3 more. Woo, there we go. Okay. That is the warm-up done. Just gonna grab a drink of water real quick. So what we're gonna be doing for this is 3 rounds of 6 exercises. I'm gonna pull up a timer real quick. We're gonna be working on getting a timer that we can just put on the screen somewhere, but we have not figured that out quite yet. So I'll have a timer going on my end. Sorry, 6, oh, I thought I had that one. Okay, so I'm gonna look at the exercises real quick. I'll run through a demonstration of the first round, and then we will go ahead and get started with it. Right, okay. So, the first exercise we're gonna be doing are step over squats. So if you're on a yoga mat, you're gonna be on one end. If you're on just the ground, you wanna have about 3 to 4 feet of space to your side. So you're going to think about stepping over something with both feet, and then squatting down and coming back up, and then stepping over, and then squatting down and coming back up. Right? The way you make this more difficult is you think about changing the height of the invisible object that you're stepping over, right? And how far down you squat. So if you want to, you can be a little tiny object like stepping over a shoebox and a little squat, right? That's totally fine. If you want it to be harder, right? You try and pretend like you're stepping over something really tall, and you come down all the way, full depth squat, right? That's kind of how you progress this one. Next up is an ab exercise, single leg extension. So you're gonna get down onto the ground, get yourself nice and set, abs are engaged. You're gonna bring your knees up, not so far that your pelvis comes off the ground, just kind of tucked against so you can maintain that abdominal engagement. And then you're gonna push one foot out and then bring it back in. If you want to point your toes, you can do that, that's totally fine. If you want to have your foot flexed, also totally fine. That is up to you. You want to make sure keeping your abs engaged, your low back is staying on the ground. If you're finding that a little difficult, you can push upwards. If you're finding that a little easy, you can push outwards, and you can make that transition happen a little sooner so that you can almost be changing. Both legs are further out at the same time. And the last one we're going to be doing, yes, clock arm movement. So this is a sequence of 4 arm movements from a standing position. You're going to reach back behind you, rotating so that your thumbs kind of go backwards, and then up at 90 degrees, and then down, and then up 45 degrees with the hands, and then straight upwards. Each of those, the thumbs are facing behind you. So it's just rotate back, 90 degrees, 45 upwards, and straight upwards, trying to get your arms parallel. So those are the 3 exercises we're going to be doing. Try and get through. It's usually about 2 rounds that we'll get through in the 6 minutes. Might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less. So if you don't have any questions, we will go ahead and get started in 3, 2, and let's go. Step over squats. So getting that distance, bring it over both feet, squat it down, and that will be 1. We're gonna go 8 to 12 of these. You do not have to try to keep pace with me. You wanna try and move at your own speed, getting somewhere in that rep range. Make sure you're maintaining a nice breathing pattern. Inhale down, exhale as you come up. And again, you want to modulate the difficulty of this based on what you can do comfortably, what you find it's not too challenging, but still makes you have to work a little bit. And if you want to try and really push yourself, you can go for distance as you're stepping over. So you're trying to get over something really big. Maybe pretend it's a big log. Again, you do not have to. This is something you can mentally think about. Kind of gives you something to focus on. It's like that burning sensation in the legs. And go. 1 more on each side. Nice, okay. Single leg extensions down to the ground. Going for 20 to 30 of these, counting each leg movement. Again, that's up to you. So you want to make sure you're keeping the low back nicely on the ground. Your abs are engaged. If you find that a little difficult, you can just go higher with your feet. If you want this to be more challenging, you can change when you transition. So you have more weight further towards your feet. Again, you don't have to. You want to make sure this is something that you can control and you find challenging. So again, in that 20 to 30 rep range, counting each leg movement as 1. I'm gonna go 1 more on each. And there we go. Go back up to a standing position. We're gonna do the clock arm movements. Abs are engaged, glutes are engaged. Reach your hands backwards. Neutral, 90 degrees, and back. You want to think about with each of these, you're not letting your shoulders move forwards. You want to think about moving your shoulder blades together behind you, and your shoulders are traveling backwards. Nice big exhale as you're hitting that end range of your arm movements. That'll help keep your abs set so that your rib cage doesn't transition while you're doing these. Again, you do not have to pace me while you're doing this. You want to make sure you're getting into your full end range and maintaining a nice breathing pattern. I'm going to do 1 more cycle through. And the last one. There we go. Okay, and back to the step over squats. All right, we're going to go try and get through 2 rounds in the 6 minutes we have. So you want to try and make sure you're maintaining a pace that's got you breathing hard, but that you can maintain, right? You want to be in that aerobic working capacity where you still have oxygen and you're not super completely winded. A good test for that is to see if you can talk while you're doing it. So if you can talk, that means you still have oxygen to spare for what you're doing. It's not an exact marker for intensiveness, but it's a pretty easy one, and it's fairly accurate for making sure you're in your aerobic working capacity, which is what you want to be in for swimming or for any other kind of aerobic activity. I'm going to go one more this way, and then we're going to move on to the single leg extensions. To the ground, abs are tucked, you get that nice placement of the low back. Nice full extension of your legs. Maintaining a nice breathing pattern. Doesn't matter if you exhale and to go out or go in. You just want to make sure that you're maintaining a rhythm. Oh, and that is the 6 minutes. Okay, gonna have to adjust the timing on that a little bit. Whew. So we're gonna go ahead and just take a little breather here for a couple minutes. Grab some water. We're trying to get this in a specific time frame and still trying to dial in the timing of everything. So might take a couple sessions, so please bear with me. So we're gonna go for a 2-minute break. While you continue resting, I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate the exercises for the next round, so you can see what we're gonna be doing while you're taking a break. While you're doing that, try and make sure you're moving around a little bit still. You don't want to just stand in one place or sit, and try and focus on your breathing. Okay, so first exercise of this round is going to be bird dogs, or opposite arm legs, or whatever you might know this movement as. You're going to start in a tabletop position. So abs are engaged, shoulder over the wrist, hips over the knees. You're going to extend one leg backwards and one leg or one arm forwards with your thumb up. And from this position, take a breath, exhale, inhale down. Right, you're keeping that extension of your limbs, so your heel is pushing backwards, you're reaching that arms forward, and you want to try and do that movement without your low back taking over. All right, we'll go 7 to 12 on one side, and then switch. Next up is side plank bridge. So you're going to start on the ground on your side. You can either start with your feet staggered like this, stacked on top of each other, or if you find both of those a little bit too difficult, you can go onto your knees like this, whatever option. And you can either be on your elbow or fully up on your hand. Right, so elbow and knees, staggered, feet together, and then hand. You can go hand on knees, staggered, or feet together. Really whatever option you want to try out there. But what we're going to be doing here is nice full extension, and then you're going to lift your hips up, and then come back down, and lift the hips up. I like to extend my top arm, because it helps with the balance. So just down with the hips, and up with the hips. If you're going, right, elbows and knees, it's like this. Right, and whichever variation you're working on, you want to just think about getting that straight line through your torso, so you're not over pushing your hips, finishing in that nice side plank position. The last one we're going to do in this round is scapular push-ups. So you're going to get into a plank position, again, fingers nicely extended, like we do for the tabletop. Sink your chest down and push your chest away. So chest down and chest away. If you need modifications on that, right, you can do wrist push-ups, or you can go to the knees, but try and hold it in that solid plank position. Okay, those are the 3 exercises for this round. We're going to do 6 minutes again. Hopefully get through a little closer to the 2 rounds on this one, and we will see. If you have any questions, you can unmute and ask. Otherwise, we will get started with the bird dogs in 3, 2, and well, let's go with round 2. Into the tabletop position, extend one set of limbs, and lift. Just get a nice exhale. As you lift the limbs, you're gonna feel that squeeze in your glutes and in the shoulder blade on that side. Trying to create that distance between your fingertips and your heel. And then go ahead and switch sides. So extend your limbs and then lift. And you want to maintain a little bit of arch here, but you don't want to be making that arch increase while you're doing this. So you're holding with the abs, keeping your belly button tucked up towards your spine. Getting that nice exhale as you lift. Okay, nice. And now time for the side plank. So I'm gonna go my hands and my feet. Again, you wanna play with a variation on here that you find difficult, but not impossible. Extend that arm up and lift. And then down with the hips and up. Inhale, exhale. And then we'll switch sides. Get yourself set. You're right. You want to have that shoulder right over your wrist if you're on your hands, right over your elbow if you're on your elbow. And then get that nice solid exhale as you're going. Whichever variation you're working on, you want to keep your hips pushed forwards. So you're maintaining that nice straight line through your body. There we go. And next up is the scapular push-ups. So get yourself set over your wrists, step out for your plank, and then bring the chest down, push the chest away. Nice big exhale as you push. Keeping the abs engaged, and you want to keep your head from falling down towards the ground. So you're really focusing on moving your chest. Okay, and now we're gonna go back to the bird dogs. Go ahead and switch which hand you're starting with. So if you were starting with your right hand, start with your left hand. Abs are engaged and you're lifting. Exhale, inhale. Try and really think about getting that extension without shrugging. So you want to keep your shoulder down. And then go ahead and switch. Extend the limbs and lift. Try and think about not letting your body weight shift too much while you're doing this. You want to keep your spine kind of centered in between your hand and your knee. Okay, and back to the side planks. So again, switching which side you started with. Set up in that nice position, abs engaged, and up to that side plank. And go for the other side. Again, you do not have to pace me. You want to be pushing yourself and get yourself at a position that you're feeling winded and sweating, but you're not totally out of breath. Woo. Last one for this round, we can make the timer, scapular push-ups. So get yourself a nice set over your wrists, chest down, chest away. So really feel your shoulder blades move together and move apart. Nice big exhale as you drive your chest away from the ground. Try and keep your elbows extended the whole time. And there we go. Got that one right on the money. So go ahead and get up, walk around a little bit, catch your breath. And like we did last time, I will go ahead and demo the movements around 3 while you continue your rest period. Hey Marcos, we're probably going to be a little bit over. Is that all right? Or do you want me to cut this 3rd round short? Keep going. Okay. Cool. So sorry, like I said, right, work in progress. We will get that timing dialed in as we keep doing this. Definitely want to trim my warm up a little bit. I'm pretty warm up heavy personally because I find it helps with injury prevention. I got some joints that aren't too happy with me all the time, so I make sure I really get nice and warm. But you should be feeling pretty good right now. Hopefully your body's responding nicely to all of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate the round 3 movements. So again, this is continue your rest period, continue your breathing, make sure you're still moving around. The first thing we're gonna be doing is tricep bridges. So you're gonna have your hands kind of at like a 45-degree forwards position, right at your hips. You're gonna slide your hips forward to about a halfway point. From this position, get a slight arch to the low back, and exhale, push your hips up nice and high. And notice how, like, you get that rotation in your chest. You don't want to have your chest drop like this. You're going to be pushing your hands into the ground. Hips come down, hips go up. If this is a little bit too much on the arms, it's totally all right to go back to the shoulder bridge like we did in the warm-up and just work in this position. I would like you to try doing the tricep bridge because it is a really good arm stretch in addition to having to put weight through the hands. Next up, we're going to be doing is some mountain climbers. So just like for the scapular push-ups, get in a nice solid plank position. Hips are engaged, abs are engaged. And you're going to bring your knee as far forward as you can without compromising your back form. So you don't want to round up like you're tucking. You want to just bring that knee up with that nice big exhale, right? If you find that a little bit too difficult, it's all right to go onto the elbows or onto the knuckles and just kind of work in this movement. If you want it to be a little bit more challenging, bring your knee out to the side. That will require more oblique work. And the last one, the prone floor sweep. So you're gonna get down onto your stomach. I'm gonna be tucking my knees. This is what I fit in my room. Preferably don't do that. I won't be doing it when we exercise. I'll be twisted, but just so you can demonstrate. You're gonna squeeze the abs to tuck your ribs and tuck your hips into the ground. Keep your low back safe. Nose is pointed down. So hands start at the hips, And then you sweep upwards. So you get your thumbs pretty close together. And then sweep down back to your hip position. So up and together, and then down. Trying to keep either hands on the ground while you're doing the sweep, or if you're feeling more comfortable with it, you can have your hands off the ground and try and keep them at that same height the whole time. The goal there is to not let your rib flex too much off the ground or further into it. You're going to maintain that nice neutral torso position. So if we don't have any questions, we're going to get started with round 3 with the tricep bridge in 3, 2, and let's go. Set up for the tricep bridge. So on the ground, plant your hands by your hips, slide to that halfway point, and then exhale. Keeping that slight arch to your low back. You want to be pushing so you get your whole body at that roughly parallel point to the ground. And again, that nice big exhale as you drive your hips up, focusing on that nice strong glute squeeze. And keeping your chest high away from the ground, pushing your hands downwards. Let's bring your chest up. We'll go one more. And then go ahead and we're going to transition to the mountain climbers. And step out into your plank. Get your abs nice and set and bring knee as far forward as you can without compromising your back form. Make sure you're engaging into the ground with your fingers. Keep your wrists safe. Again, you do not have to go as far forward as I'm going or at the pace that I'm going. Just want to make sure you're moving under control and you're keeping your abs nice and engaged. Make sure you're keeping that nice breathing pattern going. Exhaling as you bring that knee forwards, inhale back. And last one. Nice. Okay, so the prone floor sweeps. Onto the ground, feet are nicely extended. Tuck the hips, tuck the ribs, hands by your hips, and then sweep till you're over your head. You want to exhale as you're moving your hands upwards. Inhale as you come back down. Getting totally right to keep your hands on the ground the entire time while you're doing this. If you can, keep them off the ground. That's a little bit more challenging. But you want to be feeling this in the upper back, in your shoulder blades. If you're feeling this in the low back, squeeze your glutes harder, squeeze your abs harder. Really try and pull your ribs down into the ground. We're going to go 2 more. Nice. And then back to the tricep bridge. So same positioning, set the hands, scoot your hips forwards, and then press the hips up. Inhale down, and press the hips up. Gotta make sure you're getting that nice strong glute squeeze. Like I said in the warm-up, if you're finding that your hamstrings or your low back are taking over, try and push your feet forwards. That'll help. Make sure it's just exclusively in your glutes and your triceps for this variation. Give a nice big exhale as you push your hips up nice and high. And we'll go 2 more. fitness and to the mountain climbers. So starting in that nice tabletop position, stepping the feet out, keeping yourself pressed up high. Nice breathing pattern, keeping that oxygen flowing into your body. My fingers are engaged down. Triceps are probably burning from the tricep bridge, and that's okay. If you want to try and make this a little harder for the abs, bring your knees further out to the side. Go one more on each side. Nice. And the prone floor sweeps. To the ground, squeeze the hips down, squeeze the ribs down, hands by your hips. And exhale. Inhale down. Getting a nice breathing pattern, big exhale as you lift up, inhale down. And you want to try to have not too much rib movement while you're doing this. Keeping your nose looking at the ground, but not on the ground. We'll go two more. Woo! Okay, there we go. That is round 3 done. I don't know about you, but I'm very sweaty. So we'll go ahead, take just about a minute. Let's let the heart rate calm down, and then we'll go through a quick cool down and be done. So really trying to focus on taking nice big inhales and exhales. Really using that to allow your heart rate to calm down. Helps if you try and pause briefly during that inhale. So big inhale in, hold it, and then let it out nice and calmly. Take another about like 20 seconds or so. Again, right, try and keep moving while you're in this rest period. Let the heart rate calm down. Okay, so first cool down movement we're going to do is a rotational lunge. So you're going to get into a kneeling position. Bring one foot forwards. So that you get this leg straight down, this one at 90 degrees. You're going to be up nice and tall and squeezing this back glute. Take your hand on that side, put it on your knee. The other hand, you're going to reach up and rotate backwards. You're going to think about taking this knee here and pushing into your hand slightly. I'm going to get into this end range position and just take some nice deep breaths. Thinking about with each exhale, you want to try to rotate a little bit more, but making sure you're holding that squeeze with that back glute. Nice big inhale, nice big exhale. We'll go one more. And inhale back to center and transition to your other leg. So step that leg forwards 90 degrees here. This leg straight down. Find that squeeze in your glutes. Cross your hand over and open up. You want to think about pushing your hips slightly forwards so you really feel that nice big stretch in that back hip. go one more breath. And a nice big inhale, back to neutral. And we're gonna come to the ground. Feet together, we're gonna do a nice little butterfly stretch here. So, you wanna try and sit nice and upright here. If you cannot comfortably get to your hips, you're gonna totally fine, put your hands behind you and push your hips forwards, or your torso forwards. If you're in that position, just hold there, try and get a nice groin stretch, do some nice breathing. If you can comfortably sit here, what we're gonna try and do is lean forwards a little bit. And again, just holding this position and breathing, trying to keep the knees engaged towards the ground. And you're leaning forwards, thinking about bringing your torso towards your feet. Nice calm breathing. We'll do one more nice deep breath here. And then gently come out of that position. And last thing we're gonna do is a child's pose. Stretch position, whatever. So bring your toes together and get your knees nice and wide. If you're on a yoga mat, the edge usually works pretty good. You're gonna push your hips backwards towards your feet and then reach your hands forwards. And you're trying to think about bringing your chest down towards the ground. Same thing as we did in that butterfly stretch, just nice, calm, deep breathing. Think about sinking your hips backwards. Go one more nice deep breath here. Then on the next exhale, gently walk your hands towards your feet. And that is it for the Dryland class.